This afternoon, highs in the mid-90s, heat indices in the triple digits, with scattered afternoon showers and storms. Tonight, temperatures running in the mid to upper 70s, and we're mainly dry into the overnight hours. Tomorrow is a rinse and repeat forecast with highs in the low 90s and scattered afternoon showers and storms. Friday, highs in the low 90s with some afternoon showers and storms, but slightly drier air settles in just in time for the weekend forecast. I'm WPTV First Alert Meteorologist Katya Hall for WSTU 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, Martin County's Heritage Station.
It's time now for the Casey Ingram Show on WSTU. The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not necessarily those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time to call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788, 220-WSTU. And now, here's Casey Ingram.
Well, unless Casey turned into a Yeti on her last junket down to the Bahamas. My name's Eric Miller. I'm with TalkAboutMartin.com. And Casey, put another Theraflu in that hot tea of yours, and I might recommend a shot of Jim Beam to go with it. It'll definitely make you feel better. Folks, Eric Miller with Talk About Martin sitting in for Casey today. Casey's a little bit under the weather. We got a couple topics we're going to talk about, but first, we have to talk about the people that make this show possible.
That's right.
That's
the people
our sponsors.
that pay the bill to keep the lights on.
Amen. Let them know.
Definitely so. Want to thank Indiantown Marina is one of South Florida's best boat storage facilities. Located inland on the Okeechobee Waterway, Indiantown Marina is a well-protected hurricane hole. It's hurricane season. Have peace of mind and reserve your safe harborage today. Indiantown Marina is also a full-service and do-it-yourself boat yard, so you can take care of all your boating repair and maintenance needs. Give Indiantown Marina a call, 772-631-3272 for more information. The Fish House Art Center. Be sure to visit the Fish House Art Center, located in Port Salerno down in the Pocket. It is the best kept secret of Martin County. Come by boat, car, or stroll the boardwalk to explore what the best kept secret has to offer. Their boardwalk features local artists, an Airbnb, art gallery, boat charters, marina, and craft and creamery, craft beers, wine, and 24 flavors of ice cream. Call 772-221-5482 or look them up online at thefishhouseartcenter.com for more information. Commercial mortgage, COVID, unexpected expenses, illnesses. These are many issues that can cause your successful business to slump deep into the red. Commercial mortgage is here to help, and we only get paid if we provide you a workout. Debt restructuring and financing is complicated. We are the negotiator between you and your creditors. Commercial mortgage has been in the industry of small balance corporate finance since 2003. Since 2003, our focus is on challenging corporate foreclosures, debt restructures, equity, and new debt solutions. These issues are often not easy to see or understand when you run a business and are faced with multifactored debt challenges that include legal action on various fronts. That's where we come in. We never charge a front fee or a deposit. We only are paid if we successfully provide you a debt workout. Call Commercial Mortgage LLC at 772-872-6099 or visit them online at commercialmortgagellc.com. Okay, Eric, back to you.
Hey, back to me. Okay, great. Listen, folks, I want to, again, thank Casey, and I want to encourage you to visit Casey's Facebook page. She should be live streaming there, or we should be live streaming there. And you can leave comments on there, and we'll do our best to answer them if I had a way to look at them. So don't be offended if I don't. Listen, we're going to talk about the school board today in the first half hour, and I want to encourage a lot of people out there to put in some phone calls because we've been taking a lot of heat online on Facebook from bunches of teachers, and they've gotten pretty personal and kind of showed their hands on a couple of things. And what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about the referendum that you're going to be asked to vote yes or no on coming up on the ballot. And if you're early voting, you've already had a chance and probably have already voted But for those of us that haven't yet and wait until the voting day, we're going to kind of give you some examples and reasons why you may want to consider not to vote for that half-cent millage referendum, they say, as an extension. And to do that, we need to demonstrate a couple of things. We need to go back in time and look at the history of this referendum a little bit and where it came from. And it actually started back on August 28th of 2018. Yeah, we've been following this for that long. And a shout out to all of those TAM watchdogs that have been watching this with us and keeping us updated on information. Our TAM watchdog network's growing, by the way. We have quite a few people in quite a few places that are giving us quite a bit of information. And folks, that's why we call it Talk About Martin, because that's what we do. We talk about Marshall County. Now, here's the language that was on the referendum back in 2018. And I'm going to read it verbatim to you. And let's pay attention to the words because words have meaning. Shall the Martin County School District increase ad valorem millage by 1/2 mil per year, beginning July 1st, 2018, and ending June 30th, 2022? It's already ended. It's up. To fund essential operating expenses for school safety and security for all schools, mental health programs, recruiting and training qualified teachers, professional development for teachers and staff, and academic initiatives, with annual reporting to the county citizens to ensure fiscal stewardship. Well, we all know how it turned out. 23,187 said yes, and 17,586 said no. That's a pretty narrow margin. Really narrow margin. But let's go back over this for a second and look at where they told you, the people that voted yes for this, where they were going to spend your money. And this is important because we're going to go down a little timeline here and actually explain to you where they ended up spending the money and who spent it, and kind of encourage you to think again before you say, yeah, you can do this for another 4 years and take the hard-earned money out of my pocket during inflationary times. So let's go back over that language again. It says that it is to fund essential operating expenses for school safety and security for all schools, mental health programs, recruiting, going to find new ones, and training, teaching qualified teachers, training the teachers, professional development for teachers and staff, help you develop the skills that you need in your profession. If you're a custodian, we're going to help you find better ways to polish the floors, I guess. Training and staff, it says. And it goes on to say professional development, and academic initiatives with annual reporting to the county citizens. Now, here's the reality of this. That's not the way the money was spent. They didn't spend it the way they said that they were going to. Actually, over $1 million in 1 year alone was spent on non-academic personnel and bonuses. We've documented bonuses going out into the tens and 20s and even higher, thousands of dollars, to certain individuals that are already making six figures on your dime. But we were told that this was supposed to be a recruiting mechanism and a training mechanism. We have a look at the budget right here with us, and you can take a look at the numbers on it yourself. It's on talkaboutmartin.com. If you go to our contributor page for MCPU, Martin County Parents United, the information is displayed there for you to see. And a big shout out to a young lady that her name shows on some of these documents, and one of them is a memorandum that went back and forth with a question from the committee to the then general counsel for the Stewart School Board, Anthony D. George. Yeah, Mr. Star Trek himself. And the question came forward from a young lady with the last name of McDonough, who sat on that committee during this period and asked certain questions as a citizen parent, kind of overseeing the way the money was to be spent. She was actually doing her job the way that she was supposed to be doing. And one of the things that she wanted to know was, can qualified teachers include non-teaching positions? And the reason she asked this question and wanted legal advice on this from the school board attorney was there was an attempt to move $1 million a year from what they said they were going to spend the money on and you and I voted on, okay, to non-teaching personnel, and not for developmental efforts within their own profession. No. It was moved as a bonus. So how did this... Oh, actually, it was funny, Mr. George, how you actually came to your twisted logic on whether or not a non-teaching position could be considered a qualified teacher. But that's why they pay you the big bucks, Tony. You're the man, I'm telling you. Moving on from there, though, how did this happen? How did this happen? How did the money get reallocated? Somewhere along the line, there has to be responsibility. Someone needs to take responsibility for this. And in my opinion, the buck stops with the board, with the school board and every school board person that was on there. So how did it happen? Well, the board and the union came together in liaison and decided that the union would get to figure out the best and most equitable way for them to distribute the money amongst everyone in the union. Yeah. So instead of putting a label on there of teacher, custodian, cook, bus driver, they turned it into a bargaining unit. Yeah, everybody gets reduced to a bargaining unit. So bargaining units under certain tenure and time spent within the system got a different percentage of the bonus. Some animals, it seems, are more equal than others. Well, there's also been correspondence that's taken place from one of our TAM watchdogs that sent us some information. He kind of tried to address this with one of the then sitting and still on the board, what do we call them now? I guess they still have a leadership name. Anyway, they were asked why did you allow this to happen? And you know what the question came back? Or the answer came back as? Almost as good as the dog ate my homework. It came back as, well, we have to blame it on general counsel. And I'm paraphrasing here. We had the counsel at the time, it was bad legal advice. We're sorry. We didn't mean to do it. Folks, that's $4.4 million a year that they asked you and I to give them from our hard-earned money. Over the top. Now, are we upset? Yes. Did it happen? Yes. Is an investigation taking place? Probably not. They want to sweep it under the rug. If it did take place, I promise you, we have enough evidence right here that we could set anybody with a badge or any authority on the right track to go look at it. But that's not even the bigger issue. Now they're coming back and saying they want our money again. They said, we're sorry. Now give us your money one more time. We'll do better this time, we promise. Yeah, how many times, folks, have you heard a politician tell you that? And the propaganda they're putting out. Oh, my goodness. We have a clip that we're going to play for you here in a minute. And we want you to hear some of the propaganda because the lady in the clip that we're going to play, Evan, is actually another person that was on the committee and served at the same time that all of this was taking place. And we have documentation as well on talkaboutmartin.com. And it shows that she was thoroughly involved in the rewrite of this. But anyway, we're going to go ahead here. And if you would, Mr. Producer, please play that clip. I always wanted to say that on the radio. Love Mark Levin.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jessica Vell. I am the Vice Chair of the Millage Oversight Committee in Martin County District. I'm also a mom of two at Bessie Creek Elementary. I'm here today speaking only for myself. not representing the committee in any capacity. To that point, I would like to publicly condone and support to everyone here and everyone watching the renewal of the millage for the next 4 years for a couple of reasons. Sorry, I'm shaking. I've worked closely either in a school or as a parent volunteer for the last 10 years, and I, with many others, have seen firsthand teachers and staff pay out of their pocket, carry multiple jobs, and still show up and take care of our kids every day. The millage is a way that I can show support for those individuals. It is a short-term incentive in a chronically long-standing problem for teacher and staff pay. Regarding transparency, I want to say that working with our district CFO, Carter Morrison, has only ever helped clear up any confusion when you are not a numbers person like myself. He has always taken care to answer any and all questions, and even have other departments come and speak to us at our quarterly meetings. So if anyone's ever had any questions, he's been right there to answer them. I personally have felt, seen, and heard and supported as a taxpayer in exactly how the millage has been spent, even if I have had differing opinions on what it was spent on. Our school board, too, has taken our recommendations into account, and we are fairly represented on every month's district financial statements. So thank you, Carter, and our school board for that. And passing the millage for an additional 4 years will only help to incentivize our school district employees and teachers that work tirelessly every day, even in this uncertain economic time. It is only because of them that Martin County remains highly ranked. Please support renewing the millage for the upcoming August elections for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
All right, guys, don't let it be said that we're biased on here. You just got 2.5 minutes of the other side, the opposition, the young lady that we have documentation from some of those committee meetings wanting to move things from one category to another and making up new categories along the way on the way to distribute the money, other than the way that it was done. Other than the way it was done. Okay? Approved. Approved. Let me back up there. Approved. Now, one of the things that I noticed is how close she is to the situation. And this is one of the things that we get feedback from other people online that are giving us their unbiased feedback, and obviously not in the same direction as us, but they seem to think that we're wanting to hurt the children. That if you don't pass this, you're going to hurt the children. Why make the children suffer? Well, we'll get into that here in a second. But I also heard the young lady that just spoke say that she's witnessed teachers take money out of their pocket for their classrooms. Oh, boy, here we go. All right, look, folks, a teacher works 190 days a year. They average $52,000 a year in Martin County. Yes, they work part-time jobs, so would I. Okay? $52,000 a year for 190 plus all of the regular holidays off? I mean, come on. Money out of pocket for your classrooms? No, I've looked at some of these Amazon wish lists that you say you're going to have to take the money out of your pocket. We've actually gone and looked at them. And while it's nice that you think the kids have to have cushions to sit on in their chairs and that you need cute little pencils with little smiley faces and cartoon characters all over them as rewards when they do something great, no, I'm not telling you how to teach. What I'm telling you is it's unnecessary for a child to learn. A hard wooden seat, a ruled line piece of paper, and a number 2 lead pencil in our hands was good enough for a lot of us back in the day. We actually used chalk on a chalkboard, and I'll tell you what, I think we've got more common sense and knowledge in us, not book learning, and not all this feel-good stuff that's going on. So I don't want to get into the poor teachers and the poor children, and you need the money because they're taking it out of their pocket. No. The strongest support on this is coming from the teachers, not from the taxpayers. And there is a formula that goes along with this whole process. And that formula is a teacher, a taxpayer, and an education. And when one gets out of balance with the other, there's going to be a situation that things naturally have to come back to a balance. You cannot continue to stick your hands in the pockets of the taxpayers and expect things to get better every time. As a matter of fact, the last time you told us you needed this money 4 years ago in a referendum, we were A-rated schools in Martin County. Where are we now, 4 years later? 4 years later, and a $500,000 higher, we're at a B. Oh, I know, but you need more money. You'll solve it this time, won't you? Yeah, you're going to get this taken care of. You're going to get it taken care of like the $500,000 that was left on the table with Stewart in money that was owed to the school district? Yeah, we have documented that as well on talkaboutmartin.com. A $500,000. Okay, so it was an error in accounting. But it was a $500,000, folks. If it's a $500,000 and our TAM watchdogs can find it and figure it out, why don't we have processes and procedures with this vast empire of employees that call themselves a school district? The level of excellence is gone. The polish is off. Get your hands out of our pockets. Let me give you another example of things going on within the school system. A TAM watchdog sent us this letter anonymously. When the school district ceased educational operations due to COVID-19 spring break of 2020, staff were assigned to work from home. This included bus drivers, cafeteria workers, custodians, administrative staff. Remember this? They continued to receive paychecks under the requirement that they completed online trainings. So I guess there are trainings for bus drivers that they can do 8 hours a day. However, some of the above staff also filed and fraudulently received unemployment benefits while continuing to receive their district paycheck. This, which we have not verified yet, but I've got pretty good feeling that this happened, is another example of why the school board should be held responsible for this, and you should not listen to the request for more money. They can't run what they have. They're spending money they don't need to be spending. They don't need to take it out of our pocket. They need to clean up their own house and use the money that they have internally. The letter goes on to say, the Deputy Superintendent of Finance became aware when the district's portion of the unemployment benefits became payable to the state. The Deputy Superintendent of Finance knowingly approved payment to the state in excess of hundreds of thousands of dollars per quarter using the COVID-19 CARES Act funds. Oh, well, yeah, it was COVID funds, so, it doesn't bother us in Martin County, does it? Because we don't pay any federal taxes either. These old worn-out stories, this old political game here in Martin County, I'm telling you, folks, this is a mandate election. I can feel it in my bones. People are as fed up as I am because I'm not saying what I want to say. I'm saying what you're telling me. I'm saying what I hear when I go to talk to people about this and listen in the grocery store and watch online and talk to people. Yeah. This is a mandate election. I think that we're done with the same old good old boy network around here and expect to see some changes. And you know what? That's a lot of pressure to those candidates that come in, those people that you do elect, because they got a big job ahead of them. So transparencies, Carter, we'd love to sit down with you. And the transparency numbers don't lie. We know that. So the numbers will probably come together. And that's not the issue. Again, folks, they changed categories. They spent money in places that they told you that they were not going to spend it because they told you where they would spend it. And now they've broadened the range. This time they don't want there to be any upside. Look, you're not going to. It's fear porn, teachers. What you're pouring out from the board, this propaganda and all of the online, is fear porn. We're not going to endanger the children. If a teacher wants to teach, a teacher's going to find a job. We're not on an island. And we're in the same economic position that most other people are. All right? And other counties. I don't want to hear about it. There's a reality out there, and we got it covered. We're planning on transitioning here a little bit. We're going to take a break. I need to get my blood pressure down, and we'll be back in 30 seconds.
Forbearances, working remotely, internet shopping, retail space, and rental income have been hit hard by COVID. If you're looking to restructure your debt, obtain financing or equity, Commercial Mortgage can help you out. Tim Mullen at Commercial Mortgage has been providing debt restructuring services since 2003. Tim never charges a front fee and all consultations are free. Tim only gets paid if he provides you a debt workout. Looking for a debt solution or financing? Give Tim a call at 772-872-6099 or visit commercialmortgagellc.com to schedule your free consultation.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, Martin County's Heritage Station.
You're listening to The Casey Ingram Show on WSTU Digital 1450. Call in with questions and comments at 220-9788. 220-WSTU. And now back to the show.
Ooh, man, blood pressure came down a few points on that one. Wait till you get into the second half hour with me on this. We're going to be talking about Indiantown and some of the stuff that's going on there. Oh, my goodness, your jaw will drop. But anyway, I want to finish out this last topic, and I want to preface by saying that, again, there is a balance between the taxpayer and the system. And you know what, system? It's time for you to look internally and to carry your own weight. We're giving you all the money that we have as taxpayers. We are not an endless source of funds for you to solve every problem with. And money doesn't solve the problem anyway. As a matter of fact, from 1970 until 2010, there has been a 200% increase in spending on education and a 100% increase in the hiring of employees. And there has been a marginal and even at times loss of grade performance amongst our youth. Money does not solve this problem, and if it does, look at the big pile you have and figure out where it's at. We have a caller on the line with us. We'd like to welcome Karen. Karen, go ahead. You're on the Casey Ingram Show.
Hi, yes, Eric. I just, I'm finding it quite disturbing hearing some of this misinformation that's being put out there. Not that all of this money that you're talking about, $500.
Karen, can you please turn your radio down? We're getting some feedback. I'm sorry.
Sure. Sorry. It was not $500,000. It was a little over $68,000.
What was? No, wait. What was? What was the money? Wait, stop. The money left on the table with the city of Stewart. You're telling me it was only $68,000, not $500,000?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I'd love to get some documentation. I'd love to get some documentation from you on that because I have an email exchange.
The other thing.
Well, Karen, let me ask you this. I'm sitting in the hot seat here. How is it that we're supposed to accept your information? Who are you with, Karen? How do you have this information, and how do you know this?
Well, I'm the president of the teachers union. And
okay, good. Thank you. I'm glad that you called.
Disturbing that this radio station is just out to vilify teachers.
No. No one's vilifying teachers. We need teachers. No, Karen, you don't get to drive that narrative.
That are getting referendum money because the state of Florida has historically not funded education, and that's the problem, and that's why we have.
Well, thank Walken Lawton and Charlie Crist. I'll give you that. Thank Charlie Crist. Thank Walken Lawton.
Given us this money.
Okay, this is a narrative, and you're obviously on the other side of this, and this is what I was telling folks earlier. The only pushback I'm getting is from the teachers union, and people that are going to benefit from this. And you've been telling us for the past 4 years that things were going to take place. Were you involved in the redistribution of the money, Karen? That went to people that was not on the ballot? Yeah, the redistribution.
You're giving misinformation, and
no, I'm not. No, Karen, I have read the documentation. I have it in my hands, and it's online. Any American that can read understands. Can you tell me how a bus driver is a qualified teacher?
You don't know how bargaining goes. And
bargaining? No, there is no bargain, Karen. See, that's just it. That is socialism. You are bargaining. You are expecting us to bargain what the government tells us, asks for our vote. Our vote is sacred in this democracy. You told us you were going to spend it on one thing, and you turned around and spent it on another. I don't care about your socialist bargaining unions. I don't care about them. You go play in them all you want. But the fact that you told us you were going to use money for one thing, and it turned around and went to people that were not even on that list, other people may not have voted for it if they knew that they were going to be funding a raise for certain other positions. Okay?
Eric,
Because our money is too
Bus
valuable to
drivers
us.
are teachers.
No, bus drivers are
These
not.
are
Custodians are not. And there
I
is
have
no way,
nothing to
even
do with
Anthony George's feeble attempt at trying to redefine with sarcastic logic that has stretched the imagination, this is
I guess it's your
challengeable.
perspective
Look,
now,
Karen,
and
you
you're
keep
just
pushing this. You're
narrating
going to find money.
instead of
You're going to
giving facts.
find money. I'll tell you, you'll find money if you look inside the system itself and you quit trying to redistribute the taxpayers' money. We've had enough and we are feeling the pinch. People are not wanting to give any more of their money to throw at a bad. How do you explain that you went from an A to a B? Whose fault is that? Because it sure can't be the teachers, can it? Go
No,
ahead.
it could be the
No, it
government
wasn't, was it?
testing.
Huh?
It could be government testing. It could be flawed, correct?
Oh, it could be. I guess we went from an A to, but you need more money. So why do you need money to solve a problem that you don't know what the causality was?
Well,
You're asking
29
again for more money to
plaintiffs
solve
in
the
the state
same
of
problem.
Florida
See,
who have
your
reached
logic
out
is
to the
flawed.
taxpayers for assistance to bring up teacher pay. We are ranked 47th in the nation in teacher pay. 47th in the nation in teacher pay.
And you know what? Over the past from 1970 to 2010, money expenditures towards education has gone up over 200%. There's been a 100% increase in employees. And maybe we should cut some of the employees and focus more on curriculum and stop some of this nonsense programming that you have going on inside of these Taj Mahals that you throw the children in.
$7,000 a year. So I think that's called like inflation.
No.
I
I'll tell
think
you what.
that's cost
How do
of
you
living.
feel about micro?
So
How do
can't-
you feel about micro education, Karen? How do you feel
Listen.
about parents being able to take that $7,000 check, give it to a qualified teacher, and have 15 of them come together in their neighborhood and put a small school together for the full year for their children? Spend the taxpayer money on one teacher for children. Let's take
Well,
it out
we're
of this.
talking
See,
about
but the
charter
union
schools.
can't
I
get their
don't
hands on
believe
that, can
public
they?
funds to go to charter schools.
Charter
Listen, Ed,
why? Because the
what I
union
suggest you do
union has
is
no
get
way
your
of getting
facts
their
instead of
hands on the
creating
charter
your
schools.
own facts.
And God bless the state of Florida and Ron DeSantis for doing what he's doing by taking back the reins. And you know what, Karen? We both
Well,
have
I'm
lessons. No, wait a
47th in
minute.
the
We both
nation.
have lessons to learn here. There are lessons to learn. You try to teach the children lessons every day. The taxpayers are going to have to teach the school board and the district a lesson in their own. That when you tell us that you're going to spend our money in one way and you run behind our back and go spend it in another direction,
have
you
confidence
get no
that the
more. There
educated
are
taxpayers in
consequences
this
for your
county
action, and the
will
taxpayer
read
will
through your
take them
lies.
back. Okay? I appreciate you calling, and hopefully we can have a more productive meeting the next
Thank
time
you,
we
Martin
get back
County,
together.
for renewing the millage.
Yeah, okay. You're welcome. You're asking another teacher in the teachers union, folks, asking you to and I took a break, Evan, to get my blood pressure down. Did we let Miss Karen go? I don't need to give her agita or cause her any kind of a stroke on the other end either, but I am not allowing this narrative to take place, folks. This is what I'm talking about. We're so used to being able to get anything delivered to us within a half a day, right? Woo, click it online. I don't even have to leave house. You go to the grocery store, everything that you want is there. You know? And you go along with it. It's nice and easy. And you're missing the point. The point is the people behind the scenes, they're creating an illusion for you. It's an illusion, folks, and it's about to come crumbling down. Right now, Florida is a very, very strong economy. We are probably the best economy in the world right now, given everything that's going on. China's having bank runs. Look at Europe. The Rhine River's shut down. They have no distribution. They can't get goods. Their energy cost, it's going to cost the average German over $5,500 this year just to heat their home during winter. I served in Germany. It gets cold there. People are going to die. The economies are faltering. We're printing money willy-nilly. And you know why we're the 47th ranked state in expenditures on education? I'll tell you why. Because places like California, which are probably number one, have taxed their citizens to the point that the citizens are, with the money, are fleeing places like California, like New York. Look at the number of companies that are setting up the southern Wall Street down in Boca and West Palm right now. Why are they fleeing New York? Why are all of these tycoons of industry pulling up stakes from these more union-driven liberal places and coming to a more fiscally responsible, citizen-oriented state like Florida. Well, they're coming here because we now finally have leadership. Charlie Crist was one of the biggest problems, and I helped run him out of the party. I'm glad he's gone. I really am. He's evil. And when you see him next time, we're going to have fun trailing this guy. Oh, I'm telling you. I've got stories to tell you about Charlie Crist from back in the day when I served as GOP state committeeman here in Martin County. Charlie Crist was in. Whoo, daddy-o, have we got some stories to tell on that one. And that kind of takes me, oh, look. All right, so I could transition really easily into our next topic, which is Indiantown. But if there's anyone else that wants to call in out there, I don't know why you would. I don't seem to be in a very good mood today. But if you'd like to chime in on this, last chance. We're gonna move on here in a second. But guys, look, this is really serious, and they're trying to tell you that the teachers are going to run away and go somewhere else if you don't give them more money. These teachers aren't going anywhere. They can barely afford where they're at, and we're not the most expensive county in the state by far. Okay? It's a great place to live. We have great schools. We do have great teachers. I'm not against the system. I'm against the way the system has turned into this self kind of decaying sort of syphilis. It's eating itself from the inside. We need to clean it up. We have an opportunity, and it's called an election. In my opinion, again, this is a mandate election. People, remember, there is no flood that's ever been created without the raindrop. And when you put multiple raindrops together for the right reason, we can do anything. The power of one, the power of the individual, the power of the voter, the power of the American, the power of the people in Martin County. We can take this back. Now, will it end after the election? No, by no means. We're just getting started because we have to now keep ourselves involved. And I know that's tough for a lot of people, but Talk About Martin's here. The Casey Ingram Show is here for you. There's a lot of other places that are out there that are giving it good, clean information. There's an inside system that's corrupt and dirty. There's people benefiting at our time, on our dime. And what do we want? We want to go to Chick-fil-A and get something delivered in a half day from Amazon, and we feel all tickled while we drive in our car, and we curse at a county commissioner when we have to sit in the US 1 corridor for 15 minutes, and that's as far as it goes. It's not going to stay the same. It can't. It's a broken system. You're losing more freedom. You're losing more money. Vote, people. Vote. I'm not going to tell you how to vote. Nobody should. But when you as a responsible adult can see a track record of failure, a track record of asking for your money to solve a problem, a track record of just blatant disregard for the trust with the voter, do you want to do it again? Is that where you want to find yourself 4 years from now with another millage extension? Come on, guys. Let's get with it. Speaking of getting with it, that crew down in Indiantown, the village council, 4 of them, Miss Jackie Clark, Anthony D. Dowling, Miss Janet Hernandez, and Guyton Weekend at Bernie Stone, decided that it was appropriate for them to accept a gala, diamond and tuxedo invitation to the Florida League of Cities, their 100th gala. Yeah, they went down to the Florida League of Cities last week for 5 days. We've documented this information as well, and it's all online. Destin Hotel, roughly $200 a day for 5 people for 5 days. Meals, transportation, a whole shebang. Now, remember this. 2 of these people are in a campaign right now, okay? I'm sorry, not Janet, no Weeble Wobble. Jackie Clark and Anthony Dowling, Okay? These two are actually in a campaign, and they have serious challengers that I think that they could actually beat both of the incumbents this time. It's a good thing in Indiantown. I think we're going to see a lot of incumbencies being overturned, even here in Marshall County, this mandate election. But long story short, they spent close to $10K. And you know what was going on at home? Well, while they were at home, Susan Gibbs Thomas, who's the other counselor on the Village of Indiantown Council, had sign-waving parties. She was at Indianwood meet and greets. I mean, a scheduled list. So was Angelina. So was Carmine. These were people that were actually listening to the people, while the politicians that say they wanted to hear from them were off partying on the taxpayer dollar. While the water system in Indiantown, that is in a rapid state of decay and really is not healthy, had a boil water effect because the type of bacteria that was found in the water indicates that there is a line break and that fecal matter, either from a sewage pipe or from drain fields, is leaching into the water system. And they're out partying on your dime like big shots. Okay, getting entertained by magicians and motivational speakers. I hope they had a good time, because I bet this is the last party they have on your dime. Now, you know, that water system was failing to begin with. The water treatment plant and everything was purchased by the village for more than it was appraised. Howard Brown's really got this habit of buying things for more than they're appraised. And there's the center of your problem, Mr. Opelika, Howard Brown. You know, we had this quaint little neighborhood village, and all of a sudden, the people that got elected felt power burning their backsides and decided they needed to bring some outsider in to tell us how we had to do it. And they reached into the racial goodie bag in Opelika and pulled out Howard Brown, who was an assistant and a manager down in Opelika during the 4-year tenure that the FBI was conducting the largest corruption sting in the history of the United States within a municipal government. And Howard Brown was a manager level in charge of several of the departments that people ended up going to jail for the fraud in. Anyway, they brought this guy in to run things. And I got to ask you, even if he wasn't involved, because he didn't go to prison, news stories don't have him doing anything, but what does that say about his ability to be a manager? You know, if I'm a council person and I'm sitting at the table and I'm looking at this, I do my due diligence. I go and I look. I at least run a background check. I at least Google the son of a gun to see what comes up. Go ahead and Google Howard Brown. See how many times Howard Brown Opelika. Yeah, see if you don't find some things out from that. Now, if I'm a council person, just from that in itself, I think I'd have some very serious questions to ask. The FDLE's been in town in Indiantown again. We're finding out. Ms. Barbara Cloudis is now reporting that the FDLE, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, they're looking into allegations that a gentleman by the name of Brian West, a developer, was offering bribes, and some may have been taken. He wanted to build a waterfront commercial property along Citrus Boulevard in Martin County, and he was actually tied in up in Palm Bay and arrested. Yeah, for going to do the same things in Palm Bay. But it's interesting where he did them. He did them with a council person up there named Kenny Johnson. And Kenny Johnson is actually a very good friend of Anthony Dowlings, who is a sitting council person here in Indiantown. You see what I'm talking about, folks? These are TAM watchdogs that are bringing information to us. This is verified. I'm not going on the radio and making things up. I have documentation to put behind what I am saying. Now, Kenny Johnson, turns out when he was a superstar football coach up there at the high school, yeah, he was sending pictures gratuitously of his male genitalia to high school students. Later convicted, he's a pedophile. His cousin, a convicted rapist by the name of Robert Burns. Now, Robert Burns was hired by the Guyton Weekend at Bernie's Stone campaign to run his campaign. FDLE brought that out for us. So Janet and Guyton in the last election put money with Robert Burns. You see how this web's going? We've actually documented this on a diagram that we can show the connections in. We stopped when we started finding connections on corruption going back to the commission in Brevard County. A little out of our territory. We're talking about Martin. You know, I'm hoping to get with my good buddy Bill Mick up in Brevard County and maybe doing a little sit-in with him or a call-in where we can discuss some of the similarities going on and see if we can't get some watchdogs started in Brevard as well. Yeah, you know, folks, they can only push a true American so far. And we don't have to play by the same tactics. We don't have to be vindictive. We don't have to make things up, tell people one thing and turn around and do another. All we have to do is stand on our principles. We really do have a very good system. We really do. We've got it better than anybody in the world. And we have factions right now that don't think that's good enough for them. We have factions that don't want to play by the same rules that you and I have to play by. For instance, Anthony Dowling in Indiantown. He's driving a vehicle, okay, with Texas plates for well over a year, and an expired registration from 1920, or 9/20, August 20. Okay? I guess rules don't apply to him. He's living in subsidized housing. The taxpayer is paying this man's rent. He claimed on his own papers for filing that his only source of income is the money that he makes as a village council person. That's $10,000 before taxes, folks. I don't mean to kick a dog when he's down, because Anthony is obviously in a very bad place. Anthony wasn't necessarily a bad person before he became involved with a group by the name of YEO, Young Elected Officials, Andrew Gillum, Ilhan Omar, the progressive AOC. He runs in that crowd now. It's sad. It's really sad. But he has an opponent. In Indiantown, you have a chance to change things. If Indiantown puts these people back in place, I'll tell you why it is. It's because of race. It's not because of any kind of thinking. It's not because of any kind of knowledge of which of the candidates are better. Anthony's opponent is a 29-year Martin County Sheriff's Department veteran that ran the midnight shift in Indiantown for 28 of those years. 28. He retired. And the first words that came out of his mouth when I asked him the first time, so why are you running for council? He said, man, he says, 28 years I've been in Indiantown. He says, I've got my finger on a lot of what's going on around here. And he said, I've seen a lot of decline. A lot of decline. The parks are in terrible shape. The parks. His opponent, Anthony Dowling, wanted to disband and got the votes to do it, the Citizens Council on Parks and Recreation. He said that it was too early to do it, that they didn't know well enough, and that they would have to drag the people along until they got to a point where the people could fulfill their mission. Talk about another socialist. Young progressives. Then you have the militants, okay, that are in the NAACP, ACLU, holier than thou when you're wrong. But when they make a mistake, they think all they have to do is say, I'm sorry. And we're supposed to forgive them. Problem is, they're saying they're sorry for the same thing over and over and over and over again. And when you listen to their comments like Jackie Clark that says, you owe us. What do we owe you, Miss Clark? What are you owed? People would like to know. Martin County, you've got some issues going on. We have some issues going on with the commission as well. There are other watchdog groups out there that are doing a tremendous job of exposing enough information that I think if a true audit and investigation took place that was unbiased, would turn over some leaves. So I'm encouraged because I hear from you folks day in and day out. And I'll end this show coming up here in a bit with the same words that I had earlier. I am not making these things up. I am repeating on the radio what I am hearing you, the citizens of Martin County, tell me, because I'm not afraid to speak up. You know, and if you need a Talk About Martin to rally behind, get behind him. We could very easily, and it'd be so easy to do, we could have put effort into a national lampoon kind of site. But, you know, we're not even making any money doing what we're doing. We take the money out of our own pocket for this radio show. We take the money out of our pocket for Talk About Martin. We take the money out of our pocket for the gas it takes, for the time it takes to research and the time away from our families, because we, Casey and I and other contributors to Talk About Martin, feel that it's important enough to focus on the local government first. Washington, D.C. is eating itself alive with lunacy, okay? The lunatics have the reins. You're not going to change their mind. They don't care what you say. But the people here have to shop in the same grocery stores with you. They have to send their kids to school somewhere. They have to go to the gas station. They may be neighbors. You have more effect locally at this point, especially in this election. Now, is it going to be the end-all, be-all, the panacea if you vote the majority of the incumbents out? No, you're going to have a lot of fresh people in there, and there's going to be a hungry, shark-ridden system that's ready to eat them up. You'd think that after 20-plus years like Doug Smith and a couple others, that, you know, the system would be at bay, but I think they are the system at this point. You know? Let the system come at them, because I know quite a few of them, like Amy Pritchard. Amy Pritchard is a woman that stands on principle. She tells you what her principles are. She's not telling you she's going to make tremendous changes in anything. She's telling you what she's going to stand for. There's other people out there. T.J. McGowan. He's telling you what he will stand for. He has had enough. Amy has had enough. Jen Russell has had enough. Carmine has had enough. Angelina Perez has had enough. I've had enough. Our TAM Watchdog Nation is growing. Tony Zwiner, where you at? I know you've had enough. Folks, it's that moment like in Broadcast, the movie, where you almost want to stand outside your window and say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Well, you can do that. You do that at the ballot box. But make an informed vote. Please don't just vote to vote and make yourself feel good and wear the little sticker. Vote because you know why you're voting for the person you're voting for. Be that honest with yourself. Self-honesty, people. And remember that flood? You're a raindrop. And when a bunch of these raindrops come together in one place, we can create a flood. Political tsunamis can get started. It could be tumultuous. There could be some changes that we weren't expecting to see. But if you want the same old status quo of having to reach into your pocket every time there's somebody that thinks they need more money and they have an excuse and you just say, what the heck? It's only $500,000. Oh, it's only $500,000 here. It's only $500,000 there. How much do you pay in taxes? I know what I pay in taxes a year. And it's incredible. See, we got bigger problems we should be dealing with, like the insurance companies. There are people like myself that will not have an insurance company come next year because the one insurance company that will insure a lot of rural properties is pulling out of Florida. See, so we got bigger things. So the teachers' union, sit down. When you get elected to the school board, folks, I want you to look within for the money. If we need to cut from someplace, cut internally. Commission, enough. We don't have to be so responsive to the development. We can slow things down. We're going into tough economic times, and it's just making things more expensive. Cut our taxes, if anything. TJ, cut the taxes, buddy. Cut the taxes. Cut some employees. Oh, man, I'm telling you, my blood pressure, my agita. Casey, I hope that you have another shot of Jim Beam. and you get feeling better real quick. I want to thank you for letting us sit in. I'm Eric Miller. I'm an editor at talkaboutmartin.com. I'm hoping to have some information on some new contributors coming up. We have more than one. Check us out, talkaboutmartin.com. Casey Ingram, thank you again. We love you, Martin County. Nomo out.